So I think there are many positive signs when you look at the current stage of electrification. Globally, we see growth in solar and wind installations and policy frameworks to help continue to support those industries. But I think the growing consensus seems to be that we're kind of reaching the limits of this first stage of electrification, and we need to begin to look at what does stage 2 of electrification look like that really begins to seek deeper decarbonization across industrial sectors that are harder to electrify only with electrons. So the next stage for electrification really is more of a decarbonization strategy that involves molecules and fuel-based strategies. So we can look to the world of hydrogen, power to gas, fuel cells, solar fuels as stage 2 of the electrification and decarbonization strategies. So hydrogen is really being advanced around this term power to gas. So the notion of power to gas is transferring electrical energy, ideally from excess renewables that we may otherwise curtail and not be able to use in the grid, transforming that electric energy into hydrogen by converting water into hydrogen and oxygen components. So this power to gas model gives us scale and versatility. So where batteries are limited in helping to decarbonize sectors like long distance and heavy transportation, steel making, hydrogen gives us versatility that allows us to bring in clean molecules into these industries. So the basic process of power to gas is converting this electrical energy into hydrogen. Then you have a number of different choices. You can enrich a natural gas network using this hydrogen, so you're decarbonizing that natural gas system. You can store that hydrogen for seasonal storage and simply pump it back into the grid when it's needed. So this is great for summer solar or winter wind. Or you can take that hydrogen and incorporate it into a transportation or industrial application. One of the most interesting innovations comes from the world of electrochemistry and fuel cells. So currently, ExxonMobil and Fuel Cell Energy are piloting a very unique type of fuel cell called a carbonate fuel cell that essentially takes the emissions gas from a coal plant and then combines that CO2 with natural gas. So in that reaction, you get the hydrogen from the natural gas and the oxygen from the CO2 reacting to produce electricity and heat that are sold onto the grid and used at the power plant. And you also get up to 90% carbon sequestration. So here we have an innovation that is based off of a very unique fuel cell architecture that could be scaled around the world if it's successful. So futurists help organizations think about long-term change and in particular, market transitions. So when we look at the future and we have a time horizon of maybe 3 to 5 or 10 years, and it's clouded with uncertainty, that's when you start to bring the idea of foresight into your organization. And the process of thinking about the future really rests around 3 activities. First is just being able to scan for signals of change. Look at the world that's changing around you today and look for evidence through these signals. And then the second activity is being able to imagine implications, both through forecasting and the extrapolation of known trends, and also through scenarios that play out the uncertainties that we see in the world through stories of the future. And then the final piece of foresight is the ability to communicate the need for change. It's the visioning leadership side. It's being able to have a compelling view of the future and lead the organization and market toward that world.